Good afternoon, one and all. Every day is another chance to get it right, said Orphan Winfrey. We gathered here for the national webinar on the recent trends and practices in information technology organized by the Department of Computer Application, Christujodi College of Management and Technology, in association with the Internal Quality Assurance Cell. Myself, Binias, faculty of Department of Computer Application. I am the moderator of today's webinar. I am privileged to welcome each and every one of you. First and foremost, our principal, Reverend Father Joshi Chiramuri, CMI, is a legendary figure who has taken this well-versed institution to the pinnacle of glory and the zenith of power. Through his meticulous dealing, well-composed attitude, and positive framework of mind, flexibility shown to one and all, gentle persuasion, able-oriented administration, and flawless management, I heartily welcome you, Father. Our Vice Principal, Dr. Verghese Anthony, is a true teacher of merit. Through his level-headed dealings, simple styles, inspirational presence, and positive attitude, he has added a whiff of fresh air to the college. I cordially welcome you, sir, to this gathering now. I extend my welcome to the Director of MCA, who is the fountainhead of illuminating ideas, an idol of knowledge, experience, and inspiration to all of us. I am glad to welcome Dr. O.T. Jose, sir. We have with us today the resource person, Akhil Nair. I am very happy to say that he is our alumni. He completed his BCA from Christujodi College of Management in the year of 2014. He worked as a senior project engineer at Wipro for 6 years. As an individual of hard work, persuasion, and elegance, he is working as a domain leader and automation developer for the Windows platform. He is well skilled in Python scripting, C#, Windows OS, and embedded system. We are delighted and honored to him for the webinar series. I extend a warm welcome to Akhil. Effort need no introduction. The result speaks for itself. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Roji Thomas, HOD of Department of Computer Application. Welcome you, sir. I also welcome the organizing committee, teaching and non-teaching staff with a great affection and gratitude. It's hard to conduct such an event without the teamwork of our students. Fortunately, we are blessed with students who are ready to work behind this event. I welcome all our dear students to this event. At last, but not formality, I extend my heartfelt invitation to all the participants to the gathering who shall be attending the webinar today. Wish you all the best. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you. Now, I will yield the floor to the resource person, Akhil, for handling the session. Akhil.
Hey, hi. Thank you, Benimis, for a warm welcome. So, yeah, I'll just share my screen. Just let me know once you are able to see my screen, and I hope I am audible.
Serviceable ആണ് ഇപ്പോൾ.
Thank you. Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank the computer department of the college for inviting me for such webinar series. Actually, it would have been happened in the last week, but due to some personal issues, I couldn't make it out. So this week I made it out, and thanks for
So,
understanding those inconveniences.
so can you
Hello.
please full screen your slide?
Yeah, I'm not a startup. Just
Okay.
I'll start it within some time. Yeah, sure.
Sure, sure,
Thank
sure.
you.
Thank you, sir.
So okay, Joe. So before starting into the slide, I just want to say what exactly I do. So as Benjamin said, I was been working with Wipro as a senior project engineer for last 6 years, and from the last January, I have joined Intel Technologies India Private Limited, where they produces the processors to different laptop companies like Lenovo, Dell, HP, and all. So here I working as a domain lead and as an automation engineer, where I do automate the functional test case scenarios on different platforms. So I have been working with different upcoming platforms, which you can see in the right market. Okay, so why I choose the Python as a subject here is because Python has become a most popular language in these few years, and in all every sectors we are using this Python, and it has various advantages on that. So we'll just get started with the topic uses of Python in real world. Okay, so as I said, like what is Python? So actually, the Python has is a popular programming language. It's widely used in different organizations, different well-known companies, and all. So it has been released in 1991, and the man behind the Python is Udo van Rosen. He's actually created this Python to make the work easy, which we had because from the we know the language. When you come to the programming language, we all know about the C, C++, and all. So to minimize the workload and to minimize how we can code easily. So that's why Guido van Rosen has come up with a new language, and he inspired with the name like Monty Python's Flying Circus, which is actually a comedy series which comes in the BBC late 1970s. The main advantage and main why the Python become a popular language, why? Because it's actually a cross platform language. What does it mean is like if we are coding using Python in a Windows platform, it can be used in any other operating system like Mac, Linux, or in the Raspberry Pi as a embedded device. And also Python is actually is a interpreted languages. For like if you see C or C++, it has a or Java, it has actually we need to compile the code initially, then the compiled code has to be executed. It will be generating a binary and that will be executed. But when it comes to the Python, we not need to do any compilation, and it actually internally take care of it. So it actually, when we write a simple line of code in Python, when you execute it, it directly internally compiles it and it's execute and give you the result back. And also Python is actually object oriented and a functional language. Why? Because if you see, many other languages actually support this, but in Python it is very easy, functional oriented. It's also called as procedure oriented also, we can call it. Why? Because we can create a small functions which can be used in the later point in a, if you look into the a big project we are creating. So if we have a few functions made, it can be later used for our further usages. And obviously it's a object oriented language like C and CPP. but it has minimal like object oriented. If you go to the C or C, bit very bit difficult to understand the concepts. And also when it comes to the Python easily help us to understand more the object oriented concepts, and it make the programmer very easy to code. Okay, here is just a small history of Python. So how it evolved in these years. So it's actually in the late 80s it got conceived by this Rosen, and he started working on in the Python, and he had a good experience in C and C++, so he know what are the advantages and disadvantages of a Python. So the disadvantages, how we can overcome using a Python. And that's why he come up with a Python concept, and he initially released the Python version 0.9 at 1991. And in later years he released different versions which has more capability, and which helps the different programmers, different companies to make it really happen as to make it as a popular programming language. So in 2000 he released a 2.0, and in 2.0, 2.7 was much more famous version which he released, and it being used by many of the organizations, like especially called Intel is one of them, because I am part of that particular team being using this 2.7 in the last 3 4 years. And the later in 2020, starting of 2020, we also migrated to the Python version 3, because it has much more advanced libraries and all, which we can incorporate current booming like machine learning languages, artificial intelligence, and data mining, and these kind of can be incorporated, and many libraries has been added. So current version it's going on is Python 3.7 in that it has released on June 2018. So currently the Python version is 3.7. So we are expecting few more versions in 2021 with the new features which will enhance our current programming skills. So we'll move on to the application of Python. So it's actually what I have listed is a few of the applications where we use the Python. There are many more application levels are there for Python. So here few are like web development, game development, and as I said, artificial intelligence, machine learning, desktop GUI, software development, business applications, and training courses for the educational purposes, and image processing, and graphic design applications. So on it goes. Actually, it's these are the few which I have picked up. If you go to the Python page, www.python.org, if you go there, you can see what are the applications of Python, and what are the success stories of Python being used by different companies. So we'll move on to the next slide. So web development, as I said in the early stage, so Python has a numerous number of libraries which supports multiple programming concepts. So in web development also, the mainly the Python is using is a Django framework. I think already you guys would have know about the Django framework, which actually used for the web development. So before just continue, I just want to let you know, guys, one more thing is like the topics which I'm just covering here, right? I expect this can be really helpful for you people to when you come into your final year projects, or when you come up with a new seminar, or if you want to create something new. So it will be really helpful. So it's just a kind of information that I'm just providing to you guys, so you can just go back and search by yourself and develop your skills in Python. Okay. So yeah, the frameworks, Django and Pyramid is one of the most famous frameworks used for the web development. It has been used by many firms. Like for an example, Instagram is one of them which uses Django framework, and micro frameworks such as Flask, Bottle, and all. So what is a micro framework is, it's like if you go to the Django, it has a wide range. The normal web development frameworks, it will has its own authentication process. It has a, we just need to call that particular library or something like that. But in Flask, it's like a lightweight framework where it will not have any authentication or or verification kind of stuffs. So that we need to write it ourselves, but the Python has option to provide that also. So it, that's it. The Python has a numerous number of libraries which we can use at any place for any reasons. So, and also there are some advanced content management systems such as Plon and Django CMS. So content management system is like when we are creating a web page or a web, we are developing some, doing some web development activities, we need to manage really good amount of data and all. So for that, these kind of advanced management system frameworks we can be used, like Django CMS or Plon. And these are the few if you come here, these are the few standard libraries actually we use in Python, like HTML, you guys all know, and XML, JSON, email processing are there, and it supports FTP, IMAP, and other internet protocols. So for an example, the support for FTP, there is one more like SMTP is also there, and IMAP is also IMAP. And these internet protocols actually, for an example, we want to do a, we want to send some emails to a to some group of people or to the group of mail IDs. So what we can use with using the help of SMTP library, we can we can send all these mails in a into particular mail IDs. So what actually does is it supports multiple mail servers. So for an example, Gmail is one of them, Hotmail, Outlook, all to all of these we can send mail. SMTPs, which is used to send the mails, and IMAP, which is used to read the mails if we want to verify. So particularly at this particular time, whether I have got any mails, or is for filtering the mail using the subject line or based on this sender name. So all these can be done using the IMAP. And also it is very easy to use with the socket interface. So socket programming is one of the one or the good advantage of Python. We can, because it has been used in multiple areas where we have parallelly running some because it has been used in our automation scenarios as well. So we want to do parallelly some executions in two machines, so, and one machine has to send some data to the other machine, and based on that the other machine has to respond or to execute something. So where we use the socket programming. Okay, so next one is the game development. So Python is actually having particular library PySoy, which is actually using for creating a 3D game uh, into 3D game. So even not only PySoy, there are many other libraries which helps to create the 3D games. So here are the few games which developed. Maybe you guys would have seen few of these games and would have played also, like Battlefield, Stress of Fire, World of Tanks, etc. So the next one is like artificial intelligence and machine learning. So this currently this is one of the booming technology current in the real world what we are seeing. So many of the companies like Google and Facebook, Instagram, and many more firms or companies are actually using the machine learning and artificial intelligence to make their product very easily. So if you see uh, there's a face recognition activities, everything is happening. So it's actually part of all machine, it comes it has artificial intelligence as well as machine learning. So machine learning is like, we are, as now what we are doing, we are learning something, we are learning Python, and on based on that we are writing the scripts. Similarly, we are teaching the system or the computer to do these things based on these inputs. Okay, so Python has a various good range of libraries which helps to do artificial intelligence and machine learning programs. Act- for here, as I said, in the artificial AI or ML, it actually requires a good, scalable, or secure or flexible programming language, uh, because because these all are like a kind of a sensitive kind of technologies like AI or machine learning is kind of very sensitive because we are working with many datas. If you see last with the data itself, we can manipulate anything, and it has its own good features and also bad features. So there should be a secure, and it should be scalable enough to move from one technology to the other technology. And it should be a cross platform, so it shouldn't be like only in one particular platform. It should work a platform in the sense in only in particular OS, like whether it should work in Windows OS, Mac OS, or Linux, wherever it should work. And there are few libraries I have mentioned here, like SkyPy for the advanced computing. So if you want to do some ML or AI operations, which actually uses mathematics, science, or engineering. Obviously, in machine learning, we require mathematics because it have some differentiation, and all of the differentiation is one of the main which actually uses in ML, because we want to train some machines, right? So based on the data, we need to make the system work. So SkyPy is one of the main, and Pandas, which actually uses for the data analysis. So if we have a bunch of data, if you have plenty of data, so how we can easily analyze those particular data? So Pandas help you to analyze those particular data and give a proper structure, like how these data can be used. And Seaborn is for the data visualization. So if you want to suppose if you're giving a data in a table or in a Excel, it won't be easy to understand. We need to just go from top to bottom, and it might not be easy to understand for all the people. So Seaborn is used for making a data visualization. So what it does, it will analyze all the data and create a data visualization, for example pie chart, flow charts, and all these kind of chart visual the data you can see visually, and the user or the person who are working on it can easily understand what it meant. And Keras, TensorFlow, Skeleton are for the ML. So in this one, TensorFlow is one of the basic library or the method which used for the machine learning activity used in Python. And NumPy is for actually scientific computing and data analysis. And also NumPy mainly works on the numeric calculations of like kind of in the machine learning or artificial intelligence. We need to have some kind of mathematical derivation, like like what you say, image processing or test processing, test comparison, image comparison. On all these way, we have to compare something. It's actually all in the mathematics. So for that, actually we use the NumPy library. Then we go for desktop GUI. There are many desktop, we can create desktop GUI using many other programming languages. When I was in doing my graduation BCA, there was one we can create the desktop GUI, I think using VB and all we have created. The later point Python is also started providing particular libraries which can be used for creating a desktop GUIs. And also these desktop GUI libraries would help us to automating the desktop like UI operations. For an example, if you want to capture a photo or capture a video, or all these things can be handled using the libraries which provided from the Python. Example is PyQuit, PyGTK, Kiwi, Ginger, PyGUI, PySlide. So in this PyGUI is actually it helps us for the GUI automations. And next comes to the software development. So when I was doing the graduation, the software development at that time, I was only it's not long back. It's actually in the 2014, 11, 14 years. So at that time, I was not that much aware of the software development. I was taught only C, CPP, or Java, or only these few were actually used in the software development. And later, when I started working and way when you start working, you will get to know more technologies around you, and you need to keep update yourself to move on with the flow. Otherwise you'll be stuck somewhere and you will lose. So Python is one of the very good programming language which used for software development. It actually helps to testing or management, everywhere it can be used. And scons is one of the library which Python has, which used for the build control and buildbot and Apache come for automating continuous compilation and testing. So continuous compilation and testing, actually it comes to if you want to execute something, or if you want to run something in a continuously, and you want it's compile and test continuously. So it's mostly used in the CI/CD process. CI/CD is continuous integration and continuous testing. So in this ways we use this build up and Apache comes. And roundup or track for bug tracking and project management. All these are actually applications which we can develop using Python. The next one is the enterprise level and business applications. So we know many e-commerce applications or many business applications are there now. So Python is actually started giving providing particular libraries or helping all these business application people to create their own applications and e-commerce applications. So in earlier stages it was not that easy to create a business application. They just want to know about how the company or the firm who are developing, only those requirements were matters. But currently it is not like that. All the users, because if you are using a e-commerce application, uh, the user, like we all are the users of that particular application, so we should have some idea on it, and we are actually giving some feedbacks. So because of the Python high performance and its scalability, these people can take feedback from the users, and based on that they can update their application. So Python is really helpful in doing such things. And Odo is actually one of the major management software which actually uses in Python. So Odo is like completely manages this application. It's actually Odo is created on the base of Python. Odo is kind of a framework. On top of that, we create applications like for like e-commerce applications we create. And there is Triton. It's actually three-tier application, three-tier framework, we can say. It's actually the same as Odo. It helps us to create a business application, different levels of application. It is much more secure, and we, based on user inputs or the requirements, is we can easily make the changes. And next one is it's kind of we can say it's kind of an application. So Python, as I said in the early, it's Python is actually a very easy language for a normal who are just starting in a programming or into learning. You want to learn something in the programming or want to write some codes and all. I really recommend Python. Why? Because it's really a beginner friendly. So when I started my career, I was only known like C or C++ are the languages I were taught in college. And later when I started my career, so there I started learning Python. It was really easy because for an example, I just started like in a way like I was no idea on how Python works and how we have to write it, and is there any syntax followed. Nothing I was not. So I just pull into one of the projects where they do the automation of this Windows platform using the Python. So gradually I took 1 or 2 months to start up with few of the implementation or writing. I started writing codes in Python, and it was really easy. I learned it very quickly. So to learn the language, I know many of you guys would have, when you started learning C or C++, you would have thought it's really hard to learn, and many things are there like memory management. We need to see how it has to be done. There is former few syntax we need to follow. But when it comes to the Python, right, it's really easy. It's like actually a dynamic typing. Here, if you see in C, we need to specify what type it has to be. If you're declaring a if you're writing declaring a variable, we need to mention the type like int a or char b, something like that we need to specify. But in Python we don't need to give any type actually. When you give some a equal to 10, the Python itself, when it where during the compilation, internal compilation, it understand itself like it's a integer. And also if I see give a is equal to b or something like that, it's automatically understood is understands it like it's a character. It's likewise for the string and all, it's like that it goes. So that's why it can be used in educational programs and training courses. To if you want to start with a good programming, we can go with the Python. It's really easy to learn. Actually, some time back, I had a chat with uh, one of the tutor there. So I asked whether the Python or anything new upcoming language they started. So so I got a reply like it's not at started. It's not been actually added to the curriculum also. So I am really wondering why in the upcoming languages, because if you want to make a good programmer or want to really work into the real world, you should really there should be one language which we easily understand and easily we can write it and we can make it more popular. So so next one is like image processing and graphics design applications. So here also Python is actually very have given a good number of libraries for the image processing and graphics design applications. So image processing is like if you want to compare images, and if you want to a group of image a group photo or something, like for an example a group photo, if you want to extract something or if you want to do some manipulation in that particular image, so we can use the Python libraries to do that. And also the graphic design applications. So now there are multiple graphics design applications are there, like Gym, Paint Shop, Draw, Stribers. Everything has been created on Python. And also Python has its own like 3D animation packages where we can do 3D animation, and the same thing has been used in these graphic design 3D animation package has been used in our gaming development, where they use PyGamer and all. They use it and use and also create the 3D images. And these are the main libraries which actually uses in Python: OpenCV and Pillow. OpenCV is actually we uses for like as I said earlier, to compare the images. So for an example, in Facebook we can see, or not only in Facebook, in photos, Google Photos, we can see if you select one pic, it will take out all the images where this particular face comes. So similarly, these kind of activities or these kind of operations we can use, we can work it out using these particular libraries. And so these are the actually the main applications where the Python being used. And all these applications being currently we can see in many of the organizations or major companies. So there are few I have listed here. So the first one is like Industrial Light and Magic, ILM. So maybe all of you guys know, right, Star Wars. So Star Wars actually using a different different platform for creating their visual effects or graphics. So later point they started using Python 1.4 because it has good features, and it has as I said earlier, it has many libraries which actually helps in visualizing the data or creating a graphics designs and all. So ILM is currently moving all their existing projects into the Python 2.7, and now they're moving into the Python 3.8 versions. And now the next one is the Google. It's Google is also started using Python, and they adopted, actually it's adopted Python in way back 2006. And the what Google did is like they asked the Python guy, like a Python developer, Rosam, to start working with Google and work on their Google in the server sides to make much more easy for the data analysis and all. So and also like currently, if you Google, you can see Google has started providing trainings, certifications on Python. So those who want to learn Python and to get certified or some data, you can just go visit the Google and see what is the current schedule for these Python certifications. And the next one is Facebook. Facebook is also started using Python, because you all know, right? Facebook, Instagram, everything has now come in one umbrella. So all these people have started using the Python, by because it's very easy to port. If already we have existing implementation, or if existing applications in one other languages, we can directly port it. Suppose in C or C++ or Java, if we are already created some applications, so we can directly port those code into the Python without any uh, complications. So that's why Facebook is currently using Python as their for the infrastructure management services and all. So Instagram is also using Python for their data analysis and all those like the similarly infrastructure management. And next one is Spotify. Maybe you all guys know Spotify is actually a music application where it we can listen music, and also they also started using Python for mainly for the data analysis and some few backend services. And then Quora is one of the leading Q&A kind of web application, where we can post some questions, and those who are aware of this particular technology or for that particular question, the people will answer. So Quora also started using Python because the data analysis is very easy, is using Python, and it can be like easy to write, and the readability of Python is very much good. And the next one is Netflix. Netflix also actually using Python for the data analysis part, and in the in the server side. So for an example, in Netflix, if you see, there will be some notification coming if they have added new movies or any new series or something is coming, and you will get some notification to the user. So all those steps are doing using the Python. And then comes to the Dropbox. So Dropbox is actually a cloud file storage platform where you can save your data, store the data, and retrieve it when you require. So all these things are also, Dropbox is also using Python to make it easy. And Reddit is another one which actually uses Python because of these code libraries and the development flexibility. So these are actually the major companies that uses Python. So there are many more companies or organizations where uses, for an example, NASA is one of them which uses the Python, and also there is one US federal unit which actually uses Python for their data storage, data analysis, and all for all stuffs. And even many government institutions or colleges are using this particular Python to create their own projects to make the students understand how the Python, how to welcoming them into a great good programming world. And these are actually the advantages why we use Python in the real world. And what is the one of the major advantage what I say is like Python is absolutely free. There is, we can just go to the Python site and we can just download it. Any versions we can get it. There is no issues. Even the libraries, there are many number of libraries which can be downloaded, which can be added to the existing Python, which is really free. Next one is the compatible with real-time software. So as I mentioned earlier, so in the real-time software, anywhere we can use the Python. It's really very compatible to any of the OS. It's like cross-platform function. If you are writing a code, writing a Python script in Linux, it can be used in Mac. It can be used in uh, Windows as well, without changing any line. The next one is a data analyzer. Python is actually one of the good data analyst, if you say. It has various libraries which helps to analyze the data. Like as I said, in the Panda is one of them, which actually do the analysis of particular data and you give you a proper output from it. And the automation testing. So in this automation testing, actually, I am working right now automating different functionality testings of Windows platforms. So automation testing is actually, it gives a many number of libraries which helps us to automate things in Windows. Um, there are actually in the Mac and Linux also we have, which it's actually supports many libraries, and also for particular Windows applications itself, it has its own libraries provided. The next one is object-oriented language. Obviously, it's a object-oriented language which actually helps to create a very neat and it's actually object concept. So we don't need to worry about like many classes we can define, and based on that we can perform the operations or perform multiple functions can be written, and that functions can be used in any in a future purpose as well. And extensive libraries, this is actually one of the major advantage what I see in Python, because if you go to the Python site, if you search for the libraries, you can see there are many number of libraries. It's extensively many libraries are there which can be used for any purpose, any purpose we can make with it. And device control, it's actually device control is actually one of the major part when we come into the automation testing, especially in the Windows platforms. So it actually we can control the devices when it comes to the hardware like I2C or different protocol levels. We can use the Python libraries or Python to control those particular activities. And then one is dynamically typed. As I mentioned earlier, it's we don't need to provide any like a type when we are defining a variable. We don't even defining a variable is not a concept in Python. So we just directly give a is equal to 10. Is just we just give it directly. So it's internally take it as it's an integer. So based on that, it performs the activities. And the high level language. High level language, it's if you say it's like in other languages like C or C++, we need to compile the code, and then based on that compilation, we need to execute. And in other languages, actually completely compiles it and give you the binary there that can be executed. But in Python, it actually compiles line by line and executes line by line. So suppose if I wrote like a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20, and later a into b if I do. So first what it does is it will just read a is equal to 10 and it says is there an issue with that. It will combine it. Then comes to the next line. Your phone has no data connection, so I can't help you with that at the moment. B is equal to 20, and it and sees what actually is it a correct syntax, is it the correct data given. So it combines and it understands if this is a integer value. Then it comes to the third line, like c is equal to a into b. So it sees whether 10 a into b is it possible, on what is it will compile it and sees. Suppose if we are given like a in a different, if we have any error in between, so the Python actually gives a high, why we say the high level language with the traceability. If you encounter any issue, encounter any bug in the any place in the line, we can trace back easily, and it actually mentions where exactly the issue is, and it gives help us to resolve the issue very easily. And also Python actually gives a very good robust framework, and it's very flexible to use. It can be flexible in the sense it can be as I said earlier, it's actually a cross-platform language. It can be flexible enough to use it anywhere. And interpreter language. This also I have mentioned in many times in the during this session. So we not need to compile the Python code. It automatically, it internally it compiles it, and we can directly execute that code. And one more thing, we can just write one line of code and it can execute it. So if you go to the other languages, there are few like there are few things we need to follow. On based on that only we will be able to, we need to compile it and then we need to execute. But when it comes to the Python, we don't need to worry about any of these things. You can just write a one line of code like print a or print, if you do it will just print it. We don't need to import any libraries or anything like that. So actually I'm coming to the end of this session. So the applications what I have discussed in this right now, and all this, if you want to, if you are interested to know more on these details, you can just go visit these particular wiki Python. It's actually Python wiki pages, so we can see which all the organizations are using this Python, and what are the projects they are doing, and what are the advantages of using this particular Python, and what are the success stories of this particular organization. All these can be read from these two links. Okay, so actually I'm come to an end. So it's so thank you for listening me throughout. I hope everyone got a good information so that you can make use it in your upcoming career, and build your self a good programmer. Thank you. So if you have any queries, maybe you can shoot out. So maybe I can try to answer those.
Sir, thank you for this section. If any participants have any queries, you can ask now.
So one more thing, if you guys have any queries or if you need any help or any into the Python level, anything, if you want, you can just reach out to me. I'll just paste my mail ID in the chat, so you can refer and get me back later.
Sir, we have one question. Can you say more about automation testing and the future enhancement?
Okay, so automation testing. I'll just go through with the one of the example which I have been using. So as I said earlier, I actually work on a Windows platforms. So Windows platform in the sense, the Intel has given its own different microprocessors, and what we do, we just take out the OS from Microsoft, and on top of it, we actually Intel has its own particular drivers. It will be integrated, and that will be given to us to test. So for that particular testing, it comes along with different domains like connectivity, storage, security, power management. All these are the particular different domains actually we work on. When it comes to automation, manually, if you suppose what I'm do is Wi-Fi is one of the domain which I'm looking into, where we have to connect the Wi-Fi to a particular access point, and we need to browse to verify whether the Wi-Fi connection is perfect. So all these can be done using Python. What we do, we create a method and we just get all the access points, and we'll have a predefined access points, and the passwords will be stored in somewhere. So based on that, we'll be connecting it. And also in the automation scenarios, uh, mm, we can use many command line options and APIs which we are provided from the Microsoft and all. Do you have any specific, like automation testing? There are many things. So you have any specific question to the automation testing?
No, sir. No. Sir, no. No special.
Okay. Maybe if you have any specific to the automate, like if you want to automate something, if you have any plan, so maybe if you tell that, maybe based on that, maybe I can answer more specifically.
Sir, വേറൊരു ചോദ്യം.
Yeah, Maran.
സർ ഞാനൊരു 3D ആർട്ടിസ്റ്റ് ആണ് ചെറിയ രീതിയിലൊക്കെ. അപ്പോൾ ചോദിച്ചു
Okay.
വന്നാൽ ഞാൻ ബ്ലെൻഡർ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു സോഫ്റ്റ്വെയർ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നതാണ്. അപ്പൊ അതില് സ്ക്രിപ്റ്റിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഓപ്ഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ അതില് കൂടുതലും പൈത്തൺ ആണ് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നത്. അത് എന്താ കാരണം? ബാക്കിയുള്ള പ്രോഗ്രാമിംഗ് ലാംഗ്വേജസിനെ അപേക്ഷിച്ച് എന്താണ് മെയിൻ റീസൺ ഈ പൈത്തൺ ഉപയോഗിക്കാൻ കാരണം?
മെയിൻ ഒരു റീസൺ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഇതിന്റെ ഫ്ലെക്സിബിലിറ്റി ആണ്, പൈത്തന്റെ ഫ്ലെക്സിബിലിറ്റി ആണ്. നമുക്ക് ഈസിലി നമുക്കൊരു പെർട്ടിക്കുലർ ഒരു 3D ഇമേജ് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനും നമുക്ക് ഈസിലി യൂസ് ചെയ്യാം. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ പൈത്തണിൽ ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ സപ്പോസ് വേറെ ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു ലാംഗ്വേജ് പോവുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അതിൽ ഇൻബിൽറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് ലൈബ്രറീസ് കാണത്തില്ല. എനിക്ക് അതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് ആയിട്ട് അറിയില്ല ഒരു ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ പറഞ്ഞത്. സോ മേ ബി അതിൽ സ്പെസിഫിക് ആയിട്ട് ഏതെങ്കിലും ലൈബ്രറീസ് കാണത്തില്ല. അപ്പം ആസ് എ ഡെവലപ്പർ വി നീഡ് ടു റൈറ്റ് ദ എൻറ്റയർ തിങ്. But whereas in Python, it has numerous number of libraries which actually help us to create 3D images very easily. That is one of the major reason why we are using Python. And also നമുക്ക് ഈ 3D ഇമേജ് നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്തു, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് സപ്പോസ് നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ കറന്റ് ഒരു പെർട്ടിക്കുലർ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം ഓയിസിലാണ് നമ്മൾ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. സോ അത് നമുക്ക് പെട്ടെന്ന് വേറൊരു ഓയിസിലേക്ക് മാറണം, സപ്പോസ് മാക്കിലേക്കോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ലിനക്സിലേക്കോ മാറണമെങ്കിൽ ആ ട്രാൻസിഷൻ നമുക്ക് ഈസി ആയിരിക്കും. കാരണം അതർവൈസ് വേറൊരു ലാംഗ്വേജ് നോക്കുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ആ പെർട്ടിക്കുലർ ഓയിസിനെ ബേസ് ചെയ്തായിരിക്കും നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. സോ പൈത്തണിൽ നമുക്ക് ആ ഈസി ട്രാൻസിഷൻ ഒരു റീസൺ ആണ് ഒന്ന്. പിന്നെ സ്കെയിലബിൾ ആണ്. സ്കെയിലബിൾ ഇൻ ദ സെൻസ് ഈസിലി നമുക്ക് ഇപ്പം ഒരു നമുക്കിപ്പം സപ്പോസ് ഒരു അഡീഷൻ ലൈക്ക് ഇപ്പം what's your name?
Bharat.
Hello. Yeah, Bharat. So Bharat ഒരു 3D ഇമേജ് അല്ലെ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒന്ന് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഇപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു എൻഹാൻസ് ചെയ്യണം അതില്ലെങ്കിൽ പൈത്തൺ ഈസ് റിയലി ഈസി. സോ മേ ബി അതിൽ ചെറിയൊരു ട്വീക്സ് ചെയ്താൽ നമുക്കത് എൻഹാൻസ് ചെയ്യാം, പുതിയൊരു നല്ല രീതിയിൽ നല്ലൊരു വിഷ്വൽ ഇമ്പാക്റ്റോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതിനനുസരിച്ച് നമുക്ക് ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. അത് സ്കെയിലബിൾ ആയിരിക്കും. നമുക്ക് ഒരു ചെറിയ പോയിന്റിൽ നിന്ന് വലിയൊരു ബിഗ് പിക്ചറിലേക്ക് മാറ്റാൻ ഒരു പൈത്തൺ അതിന് നല്ല രീതിയിൽ സഹായിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതിനനുസരിച്ച് ഇഷ്ടം വേണ്ടി ലൈബ്രറീസ് മേ ബി 3D image, as you said, you are a 3D artist, you like to create the 3D images, right? So I recommend you go to the specific Python libraries which helps us to create the 3D images and image processing and all. So അത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നല്ല രീതിയിൽ അതിനെ എസ്റ്റാബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. മേ ബി യു ക്യാൻ ക്രിയേറ്റ് you can go like you can start build your career with this particular Python libraries. Maybe going with the Python.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions? Actually, I need to hard stop in few minutes.
It was really a fruitful session. You have given a clear explanation about what of Python and its application of that thing. Your presence and experience gave a more meaning to it. Thank you, Akhil. Now, I invite Ms. Danya Ji for vote of thanks.
Good afternoon. My duty is to say a few words of gratitude to you all. First, I would like to thank God Almighty for this wonderful day. Then, I would like to convey my sincere gratitude to our respected principal, Reverend Father Joshi Chiranguri CMI, for giving us permission to conduct this webinar and all the support he has given us. Thank you, Father. On behalf of Department of Computer Application, I would like to thank today's resource person, Mr. Akhil G. Nair, for his informative session in spite of his busy schedule. I think our students has got an informative session and fruitful session. Thank you very much, Akhil. Next, I would like to express a word of gratitude to our beloved Vice Principal, Dr. Verghese Anthony, for his guidance and support. Thank you, sir. We are also thankful to Dr. O.T. George, Director of MCA, for this valuable support. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank our respected and very supportive HOD, Mr. Roger Thomas, sir, for his immense support and guidance. A special thanks to the organizing committee, teaching and non-teaching staff for your support and coordination. My heartfelt thanks to our students for your active participation. Today is the end of our webinar series. So thank you all who worked hard to make this a memorable one. Thank you all.